You're talking about, you also like this Bruce Lee mentality, so you're kind of dabbling and taking the best from everything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like maybe negative connotation or mystic myths behind like chiropractors, and I'm sure you've heard of this plenty of times. Can you talk about like why do people try to push away this practice of chiropractors, and what are the benefits from an actual chiropractor?
Yeah, so I think just like everything else, there's good ones, there's bad ones, right? And it's the bad ones that give the whole profession, I guess, a bad name. The main problem, I think, with chiropractors is to just focus on, getting the spine in the right alignment, and that's it. But then the problem is, if you don't strengthen the muscles that keep it there, it's going to happen over and over again, right? So I had it was actually one of my internships back in Holland, so it was 4 years ago. This girl, she came in with shin splints, and she was a bit overweight, and she was training. She wanted to be a police officer. She was going to the police academy. She had to do some fitness tests. So she was running a lot, getting shin splints. And I did some tests with her and found out she can hold a plank or a side plank for 10 seconds. And so I was like, that's, because you're weak in here, when you're running, you get a lot more impact. And, that's why you get the shin splint. So we, focused on that. And then one time she came in and says like, by the way, I want to thank you, I don't have to go to the chiropractor anymore. She hadn't even told me that she had back pain. And like now I would have asked, but back then, it's just getting started. I just didn't even ask, but I don't need to go to the chiropractor anymore. Normally I go to the chiropractor every week because my back goes out of place, and our back doesn't go out of place anymore. So I think that's the thing. Like if you're constantly needing an adjustment, that's not how our ancestors evolved and everything. You got to look at all the pieces of the puzzle. Yeah. And it's just like, there's some physical therapists that say, I just do exercise. It's just all about strengthening the muscles. Well, if a muscle is really tight or a joint is just really stiff and doesn't move, then, you can't really train those muscles properly. So I don't have anything against chiropractors, just against the ones that, say, you just need to come back every single week for the next 265 weeks.
Well, maybe they don't want you strengthening those muscles.
Oh, yeah, it's a business thing as well, of course.
Let's keep you in line.
But I think there's definitely some really good ones, and and it can help a lot in addition to some other things.
Yeah, it seems a lot of people, like you'll hear this online, they're kind of against that. But I've never really looked into it, so I'm like, instead of researching,
I think there's some chiropractors who kind of get really far into the kind of the woo-woo space, and they kind of claim that we just do this and it's going to fix everything, like even non-related things,
Well, like I was saying before, I saw someone for physio, without naming names, and they basically were like, I showed up and they wanted to align me, but with no follow-up physio process. Go home, do this, and this.
Yeah.
And basically, again, it was a shoulder problem, and they're just like, well, your body's out of line. I'm like, well, you probably tell this to every single body that comes in here. I'm sure everybody's body's out of line. Let's be honest.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right? And then I laid on a table, and he kind of just took his 2 fingers and worked them all the way to my spine, and it was terrible. It was horrible. Like, is this woo-woo science? What is that? Have you heard of this?
Again, I wasn't there, so I don't know. It's very possible. If you got a problem with your hips or your spine, that could cause your shoulder to move a little different depending on the exercises that you, the training that you do, and all that. So, I would say I don't argue with the results. So if it works, keep doing it. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. And again, just because that didn't work for you, because that was not your cause of the problem, but for somebody else might have gone to that had that same treatment and it might have fixed their shoulder pain. Who knows?
What other type of like woo-woo science is out there? Maybe definitely it's in Copenhagen. We all know that. But like, are you talking more of like crystal healing on shoulders type of mumbo jumbo?
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, right? But I think what chiropractors sometimes do get a bad name of is like that they're really ascribing more benefits, and maybe they are there, like who knows, but to their manipulations than they really are.
It's and I think for like the average person to go down that rabbit hole and do that research, especially now, like most people nowadays, everyone's quite busy, I find. Like,
Yep.
And so to even find that information, it's I'll just ask someone else. Let's see what they're about to say.